Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Colin Corby. He's the CEO of Technology Wellbeing Limited and TEDx speaker. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Thank you, AJ. I'm very pleased to be on your show today.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Colin. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk about. We'll be talking about digital detoxing. But before that, Colin, if you can tell a bit about yourself, you have got a great credential. So tell us a bit about yourself so that the audience knows who they are listening to.
So, hello everybody. I'm Colin Corby. I'm the CEO of Technology Wellbeing, and I created the Digital Detox Coach in 2018 because I was fascinated by the collision between technology, psychology, and the mind, body, and mindset associated with all those things. So I've spent 30 years in technology companies and had a great career looking at many world first technologies. I'm also an endurance athlete. And so I went from being very unfit to completing 4 Ironman triathlons. And later on this year, I'll be swimming the longest lake in England, which is 11 miles. So I was really interested in how, by the way you think, you can change how you look at things and how you can do things. And then 2007, the iPhone came in, and just like everybody else, I got an iPhone and I found I was spending too much time on them. And I was just getting buried into the rabbit hole of distractions. So I had an opportunity to leave the corporate world, and I thought, well, what is it I want to do? So I collided all these things together, and out came the Digital Detox Coach to share with everybody how we need this sustainable balance between the online world and our own self and self-care and the rest of the world.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Colin. Now let's come to the digital detoxing part. So before detoxing, there is something called, what creates this whole toxicity. So I want to understand from you, for the audience, Colin, is that what actually causes this so much of, toxicity, if I may call, digital toxicity, if I may call, that needs detoxing. How does these devices, people know about, radio frequency and all those things, but nobody knows actually how it does. So I want to understand the actually extent of this whole usage of these different digital devices. Is it beyond the day-to-day digital devices that we are talking about, or something more that needs digital detoxing?
It's actually something very, very simple. Humans, like lots of other animals, have had hundreds of years of evolution doing something that's incredibly complex, which is living and surviving on the earth. And it's no mean feat. It's a wonderful achievement that we've managed so far, and along with the other animals, and it's an incredible thing to do. But we're also great at creating technologies. And over the years, we've created technologies that have made life much, much easier for us. And so what we're doing now, and we're doing it now, I'm sitting down, I'm looking at a screen, I'm moving my hands and my head, but I'm not really moving about much. I'm focusing on a short distance on the screen. And actually, I'm not really doing what I was designed to do. And the human body is one of these things that likes to be stressed in order to accommodate its existence within, the real world, and also our minds as well. And so what's happening, and it's not just online technology, but it's been happening for a long time. We're about 20% less active than we were in the 1960s. And it's going to go up to about 35% by 2030. So what is this doing? Well, we're not moving about much. It's a sedentary lifestyle that has implications for our overall health, degenerative mind diseases, and lots of other chronic diseases. So all the World Health Organization, all the governments are saying, no, you've got to try and do this 150 minutes minimum of aerobic exercise per week and all these other things. So that's just one unintended consequence of being online all the time. And so what I'm promoting with digital detox could be a whole weekend or a week away without looking at any screens, or it could be a 20-second break, just to look up from your screen, to look far away, rest your eyes, or get up and walk around, go and look at nature. So that constant rest and recovery, which we tend to miss out. I mean, I was as bad as everybody else. I've got something to do at work. Most of the work is on the computer. I'm just not moving about. I'm even eating while I'm on my computer, and I'm not noticing what I'm eating, and I'm not noticing the body signals. So that's where I'm coming from on digital detox.
Right, Colin. Well explained. Now, you see, in today's time, companies are, almost forcing people or creating an atmosphere where more and more people spend time on digital devices, especially on the phone. You talked of iPhone. Just few days back, Apple came out with an advertisement where they were crushing all. And Apple got crushed. Yeah, actually, Apple got crushed with the amount of noises against the ad, because people found it in bad taste, and Apple also came out almost like an apology. I don't know exactly what they said, but they had to issue their own statement about it, wherein it said that all other things are going crushed and everything is coming into a mobile phone. Amidst such difficult time for an individual, where companies are with huge budgets of marketing, advertising, all sorts of things, how does an individual then work out a detox strategy and actually get down to being the human that God created him or her?
Absolutely. So when you're online or when you're on your smartphone, willpower isn't going to be enough. It's like being in a sweet shop and all your favorite sweets are there. You're going to eat some of the sweets. It's not going to happen. So what you have to do is you have to pre-plan how much time you're going to spend on your screens. And when you take a break, don't pick up your smartphone if you've just been on your laptop, because that's just another screen. You need to allow the brain and the body to rest and recover. It's almost like professional people in jobs are like endurance athletes. And so you have to think, well, actually, it's not just today I have to work at my best. It's next week, it's the week after, it's next year, it's the whole of my career. So that's an endurance event. So how am I going to look after myself? Well, endurance athletes, they work really, really hard. They train hard, but they do their rest and recovery. And they get loads of sleep. And they look after their nutrition. And they also bond with other humans, which is a critical part of digital detox, because the US Surgeon General issued a report about, the loneliness epidemic in the US. And it's amazing because we're the most connected people in the world. And during the COVID epidemic, having online communications was a lifesaver for so many people. But it's a bit of a shallow form of connection. So there isn't a substitute for doing what we're designed to do as social animals, in get out there and integrate with other people, talk to other people. Now, I have some experience in the past, because obviously technology, about enormous amounts of software outsourced to India, and my colleagues in India were working really, really hard, and they would have been on screens all day, and it's very, very difficult. But within your own circumstances, you have to take those opportunities of when you're not on your screen, not to go on another screen. and replenish your mind and body. You can't be creative as an individual unless you allow yourself time to think. And you can't have that time if you're online being bombarded with lots and lots of notifications and other stimuli. So you've got to get away into an offline environment to allow yourself time to think and decide what it is you want to do.
Right, Colin. So now let's look at another excuse that the industry seem to have created. That's of the productivity. That you can be more productive being on the phone. So to be more productive, download one more app and then one more app. You know, for Chrome extensions, to just manage Chrome extensions, there is another extension, you know, Chrome extension.
Yeah.
And to manage your desktop, there is another, you know, desktop screen that will minimize it. So you see, we are putting layers and layers and layers of, you know, talking about how to be more productive and then adding more and more thing on our heads. How does then one again look at these things?
Okay, so imagine that your desktop or your smartphone is really like your desk, a physical desk, like in the old days when people, and imagine all those apps and documents piled up on this bit of desk. How on earth can you be productive in all that mess? There's been lots of research, multitasking. You know, people say, "I've got to multitask, got to do this, got to do this." The research says that the brain can't multitask. It actually does things in a serial fashion. So we can only really think about one cognitive task at a time. So if we've got something really important we have to do, then you have to clear away the clutter, close down all of the tabs, put your smartphone out the way, and single task. So all of these apps, the answer is not an app, always an app. The answer quite often may be a piece of paper, maybe a notebook, maybe having a conversation, a real conversation with your colleagues to work out a solution to a problem.
Absolutely, Colin. Now, how do I know? See, people use different technologies, mobile phones, digital devices, or even a desktop or a laptop or any other tabs or anything. How do I know that it is my time to detoxify myself? Is there a some sort of, you know, threshold to that? How do I check myself on that?
So really, this is self-awareness. Now, I bet you we all can see someone else who needs a detox. I mean, we go to restaurants and you find couples both on the mobile phone instead of talking to each other. You see families where the children and the parents are on the mobile phone. Now, when you're looking at those people, you probably think, they really need a digital detox and decide not to use their phones. But when it comes to us, it can be quite difficult. So there's a lovely little test that I suggest. If you put your phone face up in front of you, resist picking it up, let's say for an hour. But during that hour, notice any feelings you get. And if you don't make the hour, then that's a simple answer. You need a digital detox. If it makes you feel really uncomfortable, then it's a good test that you really need to get that balance a bit right. And it's a very simple one. Technology has created lots of habits in us. And what we have to do is undo some of those habits. And the easiest way to undo the habit is environment. So put them out of harm's way, a bit like your favorite sweet. You know, you don't have it in front of you, you have it put away. So chances are, if you work with technology, then you're always going to benefit for taking very short breaks. In fact, Microsoft did a study, researched a study, and they looked at back-to-back video meetings. And they found that if you went to do back-to-back video meetings, you just basically, the stress levels went up and up and up. You weren't prepared for the next meeting, and you took that stress home with you. So they incorporated a feature that puts a break, of 10 to 15 minutes between those video calls so that you've got time to rest and recover.
Right, right, Colin. Now, within a family, how do I set those boundaries? Whose responsibility it is to set those boundaries around technology? Who will listen and who has to say? Because as they say, charity begins from home, but then the person who says may not be able to do exactly what they are preaching. How does it work?
That's the thing. So parents have a responsibility for their children. I mean, that's the way life works. But parents have to lead by example. So if I was to say, well, my children are grown up now, but if I was to say you can't use your smartphones beyond a certain time, or you can't use them in the meal when you're having a meal with the family, but I've got mine out, and I say, oh no, it's important work. It's important work. It's just not going to work. So you can create an agreement that applies to the family, with one or two exceptions, and you will have to stick to it. So that's the first step. The other step, and I've seen work quite well, is instead of taking away the smartphone, you reframe the question. You say, well, okay, if you've given your children a smartphone, you say, yes, you can use it for this amount of time, and that's yours, and I'm not going to take that away. But if you want to use it more, then you have to earn it in some way. So you've just reframed. Instead of being taking away something and someone losing something, they actually have the possibility to gain something. So that I've seen that work pretty well. It's a tough job, though.
Right. Now, another sort of toxicity, you can say, if we want to use that word, is creeping into our life, is the use of artificial intelligence. Yes. In the name of helping, it is helping you in your work. Fair enough. Sometimes it helps for those who want to learn about this technology. When you are using it exactly, maybe on your desktop, on your laptop, for some time that you need. But most of these companies now have created apps, and they say you can also use it on your smartphones. And the thing is that you may get accustomed to them so much that you'll actually lose your God-gifted mind and you start using the AI itself. So it's a different sort of a toxicity. I see it. How do you then manage that part of things? How is it that you can detox there?
So we have to be very, very careful when we outsource our skills, our knowledge, and our thinking. And my TEDx talk with my colleague in the States, Anna Smith, we looked at that scenario. But if we take a simple example, sat-navs. Now, they're not artificial intelligence, they're just programs. But very good and very useful. And studies that have been done that have established that people who use sat-navs no longer remember how they get to places. They just go from A to B. So the difficulty with outsourcing is that you're no longer learning those skills, and you'll no longer have those skills available. Now, it's easy to forget that it took us many, many years to learn to read and write. Many, many years at school. And so if we don't learn those skills, they won't be available to us. So they won't be in our memory. There's no point in them being in the cloud. All we will know is how to Google something. And when Google's not there, we won't know how to do it. So for us to be creative, we have to have inside of us lots and lots of skills and knowledge. And unconsciously, when we're problem solving, the brain puts lots of those solutions together and says, well, and then pops into consciousness, oh, try this one, try that one. And that's how creativity works. So if you outsource, you then lose that capability, or you lose the capability to the skill level that you had. And I think that's the biggest danger for professionals and leaders, because they'll become dependents. I mean, imagine now all your emails are done for you. Just say, well, I want to say more or less this. It gets whizzed off to the other side. There'll be so many of them because AI works, so quickly that you probably have to have an AI assistant to go through it all and just work out which are the important ones. And then all of a sudden, our wonderful internet, which was supposed to connect people, have got these intermediate agents involved. And we're probably not far away from half the content of the internet being machine generated. So we have to look at what it does to the internet as well.
Absolutely. Your TEDx talk was, the topic, if I see, was, are we losing our human identity to technology? What are your thoughts on this?
I think humans constantly change based on their environment. The thing about artificial intelligence particularly is that it's not only doing tasks that we might do, it's doing some of the thinking. And that's the new thing. I mean, it's called artificial intelligence, but it's just programming still. It's not general artificial intelligence. But the danger is if it's doing the thinking, then and because our whole existence, we have to be online to work, to communicate with governments, organizations, everything. So our identity has shifted to being online. So some people only know of somebody because their identity is online. And there's loads of great startups in the US that are recording people like the Star Trek captain, William Shatner, so that after he dies, people can still have conversations with him.
Yeah.
So I think because we're creating our world inside of the internet, it will be very difficult for anyone to know who we are outside, apart from the immediate people around us. So I suspect it's going to be an interesting future.
Absolutely. Interesting to see, to think of that interesting future as of today. Be that as it may, this topic is very important, and that's why we have talked about digital detoxing. Tell us a bit about your company, Technology Wellbeing Limited. What does it do?
So Technology Wellbeing Limited, primarily I like to do speaking events, workshops with companies, particularly at how if the companies realize that the well-being of their staff isn't just give the staff a load of apps to go and look at, then actually they can do something really interesting and productive. So it's workshops, one-to-one coaching. I have a colleague in the US, and so we work together. So anything in the US goes through Bright Flare Solutions, and we've got a big workshop going on in the US later on in June. So really, it's getting the message across. Lots of free resources on the website if people are interested in papers and other aspects.
Right. So what's the best way for people to learn more, to connect with you, to be, to engage with you professionally?
Now, this one always makes me laugh because I'm saying digital detox, come off your phone, come off your screens. But we have to live in the real world, which happens to be online, and it's the website. So I apologize. You have to go to a website and make contact through the contacts page. And that's by far the easiest way. There are links to other places, but I tend not to post too often because that just doesn't feel right for a digital detox person.
Absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.